The sun hung low over the rolling hills of Canaan, stretching long shadows across the dry earth. The land, though promised to Abraham by God himself, was still a place of transition filled with tensions, alliances, and fragile peace. Abraham, the patriarch, had grown wealthy and powerful. His flocks and herds multiplied, his servants filled the camp, and his reputation spread across the region. He was a man favored by the Most High, a man who carried both blessing and promise. Yet even Abraham, chosen by God, lived among nations who did not fully understand him or the covenant that shaped his destiny. He was a stranger in the land, and strangers had to tread carefully. Among those who lived near him was Abimelech, the Philistine king of Gerar. Abimelech was no ordinary ruler. He was respected for his wisdom and feared for his authority. He had already encountered Abraham once before, in a tense moment of deception, when Abraham had introduced Sarah as his sister. That misunderstanding had nearly brought destruction on Abimelech's house until God intervened. From that day forward, Abimelech knew Abraham was no ordinary man. The God of heaven was with him. Now, as time passed, the relationship between the two men evolved. Both were men of influence, both had much to lose, and both sought to secure peace in a land where disputes could easily turn into bloodshed. One morning, as Abraham oversaw the movement of his flocks, a cloud of dust rose in the distance. A caravan approached, guarded by soldiers clad in bronze armor and spears glinting in the sunlight. At the center rode Abimelech, accompanied by Phicol, the commander of his army. Abraham stood tall, his staff in hand, watching them approach. His heart stirred with caution. Whenever a king arrived with an army commander, it meant serious business. When they finally reached Abraham's camp, Abimelech dismounted. His voice was steady, carrying both respect and urgency. "God is with you in everything you do," Abimelech began. His words were not flattery but acknowledgement. The reputation of Abraham had spread far. This man's prayers could heal, and his God could close or open wombs. To oppose him was dangerous. To rely with him was wise. So now, Abimelech continued, "Swear to me here before God that you will not deal falsely with me or my children or my descendants. Show to me and the land where you are staying the same kindness I have shown you." Abraham's eyes narrowed slightly. The request was bold but reasonable. This was no mere casual pact, it was a covenant of peace, one that would bind their houses and the descendants. For Abraham, it was also a chance to secure stability in the land where he sojourned. "I swear it," Abraham replied solemnly. But his mind also stirred with another matter, one that could not be left unspoken. Abraham shifted his stance, his tone now firmer. "There is a matter I must bring before you, Abimelech. Your servants have seized a well of water that belongs to me." At once, tension filled the air. Wells were life in Canaan. To own a well meant survival for one's herds, one's people, and one's future. Wells were as valuable as fortresses, often guarded with zeal and fought over with passion. Abimelech raised his hands, surprise in his face. "I don't know who has done this. You did not tell me, and I heard of it only today." His voice carried both defense and sincerity. It was possible his servants acted without his knowledge, and yet the grievance was real. Abraham studied him carefully. A treaty meant nothing if old wounds festered. To seal this covenant properly, justice had to be done, and symbols of truth had to be exchanged. Answer: before the watching men, Abraham prepared to make his stand not with swords, but with gifts, tokens, and oaths that would echo for generations. But peace is rarely without friction. Shortly after the treaty, Abimelech's servants seized a well of water that Abraham's men had dug. In a desert land where every drop meant survival, this was no small matter, it was life itself. Abraham, though a man of peace, could not remain silent. He confronted Abimelech directly, his voice steady yet firm. "Your servants have taken a well that belongs to me." Abimelech seemed genuinely surprised. "I do not know who has done this. You did not tell me, nor have I heard of it until today." This moment revealed something deeper. Even in peace, misunderstandings and injustices can arise. What matters is how men of faith and integrity handle them. Instead of anger or violence, Abraham chose clarity. He set aside 7 ewe lambs from his flock and gave them to Abimelech. Confused, Abimelech asked, "What is the meaning of these 7 ewe lambs you have set apart?" Abraham replied, "Accept these 7 lambs from my hand as a witness that I dug this well." It was more than a simple transaction. The number 7 in Hebrew thought carried divine significance, a symbol of completeness, covenant, and God's perfect order. By giving 7 lambs, Abraham was declaring before heaven and earth, this well was his, and the agreement between them was sealed not just in words but in sacrifice. From this moment, the place took on a name, Beersheba, meaning, well of the oath, or well of the 7. Here, the oath between Abraham and Abimelech was made official. Here, water became not just a resource but a reminder that God watches over justice. Beersheba would later become a sacred marker in Israel's history, a place tied to prayer, covenant, and encounters with the living God. After the treaty, Abraham did something deeply symbolic. He planted a tamarisk tree at Beersheba and called on the name of the Lord, El Olam, the everlasting God. Why a tamarisk tree? Unlike quick-growing plants, the tamarisk grows slowly, spreading wide and deep, lasting for generations. Planting it was Abraham's way of saying, the covenant-keeping God will endure long after I am gone. His faithfulness will outlast every human treaty, every conflict, every trial. And under its shade, Abraham worshipped not Abimelech, not the well, not the land, but the God who had given him both promise and peace.